we sent each other a couple songs. He sent me one of his, and I sent him this, a demo of Light Me Up, just me playing it on guitar with a little beat that I made, just a loop,
Okay.
and which sounds very much like the beat that's in there now. And I didn't have any verses written, I just had the chorus. And um, he heard the song once I sent the song. I remember he messaged me saying, "Don't worry about the song I sent you. We're gonna do your song instead." I was like, "Okay, that sounds good to me."
Feel ya, heal ya. Will you give me that sweet sense familiar? You're taking my heart, taking my soul, taking me to your door. I've been waiting, waiting so long, searching, searching for someone. Don't you know that
But that's good. I'm so excited because the single is getting the attention I think it deserves, and we're gonna come to that point and talk in depth about the single. But I'm really so excited to be exposed to you and your music. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much. I no, really appreciate that. It means a lot when people like yourselves say such things. You know.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so Earl, I want to welcome you officially to Pop Up Conversations. We're here in Toronto. We talk to artists across the country about their musical journey and things they've got in the moment. And we couldn't be more excited and pleased to have you on the show. So welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me, and just to all of my Toronto people and all our Toronto fans, I just want to give them a shout out and tell them we'll be coming soon enough. Just be a little more patient.
Awesome, awesome. We can't wait. I think where I would love to start with your story is that you guys just got signed as the frontman of The Steadies. For people who are going to join us, we're talking to Earl Pereira, who's the frontman of The Steadies, but you guys just got signed to Bristol Records. I want you to kind of give me a snapshot of how that process came about. I'm very interested to know that.
Yeah, I'll try to tell you the short version of the story.
Okay.
So during during the height of the pandemic, I guess it would have been maybe April, May 2020. Uh, the guys and I decided since we couldn't really be playing shows, let's just put out some music then. Let's release singles because we had been holding back when the pandemic hit. We were like, that's probably not a great time to try to put music out unless it has directly something to do with the pandemic, because that
Uh
seemed
huh.
like that's the only music people were listening to at the time.
Uh huh.
And but by the time we reached the end of spring into that summer, a couple of things happened. We released a single called Undeniable. We made a
Hmm.
live video for it, so it's just us performing it live, just
Gotcha.
like just like this band would, and just to showcase that we're a live band and try to capture that in a high quality video and audio. So we
Hmm.
multi-track the audio. I'm a producer and engineer, as is our drummer Curtis Schultz, and so we mixed it together and we made it sound really good and it looked really good, and we put that out. At the same time, I started getting emails from promoters thinking that we're projecting by summer, midsummer, late summer, we should be able to do some shows, even if they're outdoor.
Gotcha.
And I was so excited. I was like, wow, people actually want to try to do shows. Next thing I knew, we had I don't know, maybe a 10 show tour planned in August of 2020. So all of us were excited, not only that we get to do that, but it'll be the first time we'd have all been together because we
Mm-hmm.
all live in different cities. I'm in Saskatoon, Curtis is in Edmonton, Jesse, our guitarist, is in Victoria, and now our fourth member, Chris, another guitarist and great singer, he's here in Saskatoon. So that helps us be able to get lots more done, having two of the four of us here. So we toured, and the tour was a huge success. Canadian Musician did a big spread about us. The fact that we were the only band. I think that's what they use the coin phrase that we're the only band in the world on tour. It sounded kind of dramatic, and it's kind of funny, right? At the same time.
Yeah.
And Bristol Records caught on to this. They saw a band that was working really hard, doing what no one's really willing to do. They must really love to play. I think that's what their president, Jovan, had told me. Him and I actually had met at a music conference called the Peak Performance Project. It's based in Vancouver,
Okay.
and it's almost like a battle of the bands sort of thing. And we were both there as mentors. I was there as performance coach. So I remember meeting him and we chatted. We actually really hit it off. He knew about Wide Mouth, my old band, and then we stayed in touch through Facebook. And yeah, he messages me. He says, "I love what you're doing. I love that you guys are out there playing. I love the music the song you just released, which was our summer single of 2020." And it's like, we should talk. I'm
Wow.
like, talk about what? He's like, well, my label. And at the time, I had no idea that he was the head of Bristol Records, right?
Hmm.
So it was great that we had a familiarity already with each other.
Gotcha.
Made things go real easy. So like our first conversations are just us catching up about the music industry and friends that we know. And another funny thing happened is that our manager, very strange coincidence, she's our new manager. I've been kind of helping her co-manage
Okay.
until she's ready to kind of take on full reins.
Hmm.
Um, I asked him if, is it okay if I bring in our new manager into the conference call? This was
Yeah.
talking about the record deal, right? And
Yeah.
what he was going to offer us. And he said, yeah, sure. Who is it by chance? And I said, well, she's new, but she's been around in the industry a long time, working under agencies, and she went to school for this. This is her passion. And I said
Yeah.
her name, which is Jolene Crowley. And he was like, get the heck out of here. He's like, I've known her for 10 years. I'm like,
Wow.
wow, that's crazy. So it just made our first meeting together more like just three friends talking about music. And
Wow.
then after 20 minutes, we were like, okay, we should probably start talking some business now. Hey, you guys. And I think that's something that the industry is really built on, its relationships. Right?
Hmm.
I'm sure you know this, and Toronto being the mecca of Canadian music industry, it's all about who you know, right?
Absolutely.
And you have to be
Absolutely.
talented, and you have to have the work ethic. But he saw both those things, plus we were familiar with each other, so that just made everything seem like it was a perfect fit. I love what they were doing with television placements, and their background is in the film industry as well.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so that's what he also does, as his actually day job is working in the film industry
Hmm. Hmm.
on productions. So it was just a really good fit, and it still took a while. We had to convince everyone that it was a good idea, and me and the guys had to talk it over, or our manager had to talk it over, and it just was sort of a no-brainer. Someone's willing to back us and finally give us the marketing that I thought was the only missing ingredient left to the band. I was really
Gotcha.
happy with where we had grown to as a live band,
Hmm.
as songwriters, as production team. Just everything seemed to be falling into place. And
Hmm.
if only we could have someone who had that marketing machine to help get our music
Behind
out
you.
to more people, to the masses, right?
Absolutely.
And when that happened, everyone was happy. We signed the deal. It was announced in March of 2021. So this was almost, it was about an 8-month process
Hmm.
from the time we talked about our first meeting with Bristol to when we signed it.
Awesome,
Awesome.
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 So I'll tell you why I asked, because of course anybody who knows Wide Mouth knows that you're a seasoned artist and you're a seasoned musician, you're a veteran, and now this deal has come with Bristol. I understand you guys have distribution through Sony as well, which is fantastic. As I was reading your bio, what hit me was that you have come from this very illustrious career and background, and you've taken this band as well through four albums, and you guys have been touring and have done amazing stuff. I'm like, what keeps this man going? Like, what keeps him, still reaching and still wanting to do more things, regardless of how much he has accomplished? And we're gonna get to the music you guys have just put out, but I wanna find out what makes you tick at this point in your career, and what makes you keep reaching out for more.
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. Actually, I I I think about it quite a bit, and sometimes it's just what it comes down to is just like passion. You know,
Mm,
I knew early on, even when my old band was taken off. We got signed by Warner Music, Atlantic, US, and things were crazy. We were a big band in Canada. You know, I'm not gonna lie about that. It was awesome. It was great to be a part of that whole experience and do things on a high level. It gave me a lot of confidence. It made me who I am today. I wouldn't be the musician I am today without having gone through that. Uh, but one thing that never changed was I just loved to play. Whether we would have gotten big or not, I would still be doing it because I just
Yeah.
loved it. You know, I still remember our early shows. I was out in the crowds, passing stickers around to people sitting at tables before we'd go on stage and shaking hands and making friends, which is
Yeah.
basically trying to make fans is the same thing as making friends, right? You're trying to
Mhm.
connect with them
Yeah.
and playing a song for a fan and acknowledging them in the crowd is no different than shaking someone's hand when you meet them
Mm.
for the first time. That's sort of the same thing. And um, so I love doing that. And the funny thing is, I was just doing that last week, passing around stickers to people sitting at tables ready to go on. And I sat down after the show, and someone said something to me like, how come you get someone else to do that? Why are you doing that? And I said, because I like to be out there. I want to meet the people that are going to be I'm going to be playing music for, and who could be a potential fan, and it hadn't changed, and it's been over 20 years, and I still do that, and it's I just love it. It's a lot of work, especially even more now. I think we had it pretty easy with when we got signed and had handlers and agents and everyone doing everything. I basically just had to show up for stuff, not be late, right? And play my heart out every night, which is what I did. But at the same time, I learned by seeing how everything works, and I learned from managers, and got to the point where I felt like when the industry started taking its downturn in
Mhm.
the 2000s and downloading happened, which led to streaming, which is even harder now for everybody. But
Yeah.
but back then, it was people were panicking and labels were downsizing and bands were getting dropped, and I started to want, I don't know if I meant to or not, but I just naturally thought to plan ahead and be like, I should start a project that I feel so passionate about that I'm going to do whatever it takes to make a go of it, to make it successful, and and I need to know how to do all these things because there isn't going to be people doing it for me anymore. I need to know
Mm.
how to do it myself, and I taught myself, and it's exactly what I did. Even when I was still in Widemouth, I had another band. This band I was grooming, the
Mhm.
early stages of it for about 4 years or 5 years before I finally left Widemouth and went on my own and to do it. And right there shows again a big my passion for it. Like a lot of people would have gone from being in a big successful band to starting over again and said, forget that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
doing that. I have friends that are successful musicians who were in the same position as mine, and we talk about this, and they didn't do it. And I think that was the difference. You gotta really, really, really love it with all your heart and soul, or else it's not gonna happen.
got you. No, very well said. I think that answer was very well put. Um, so now that we're at this point with the steadies, I think you guys are in a very good place. So that would be a fair assessment to give at this point, that you guys are in a very good place. You've got a record deal going. You've got distribution. I think another question I always love to try and figure out is that when you come upon a record that you want to create, just as a single, right? And you had to collaborate with Sinju. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but you had to collaborate. What informs your decision to collaborate with a particular artist on a record? So now, for the people who are watching, we're talking about your single that recently dropped, "Light Me Up." Give me the background as to how the song was created and what informed the collaboration that you had with Sinju. Why that artist?
Right. Another great question. So Sanjay Saran from Delhi to Dublin is the band, and him and I just go way back. We're old friends, and they started coming up when I was sort of on my way out with Wide Mouth towards the kind of end of our trajectory, end of our career, and they were kind of the new band on the block. So they started doing really well, and next thing you know, had started my own band, and now we're the ones coming up, and they're the ones sort of on top, right?
Yeah.
And I have no problem. I have no ego about opening for people, right? If I get to play in front of someone else's crowd and it's sold out, like, sign me up, because you do two. You get to kill two birds with one stone. A, you get to win over new fans, and B, you get to make connections with another group. And luckily, him and I already had that connection, so it made things even better when we got to share the stage together. And this kept happening over the years. We kept sharing the stage. We both opened for Ziggy Marley on the same bill here at Jazz Fest here in Saskatchewan, and it was huge. It was a big sold-out show, and that kept happening. They actually took us on a tour to open for them. It was not too long ago, just before the pandemic, 2019.
Okay.
And on that tour is when him and I talked about, we should finally collab on something. Let's do something. And then, of course, we got hit with COVID, and no one's doing anything. Well, the best thing you can do for a musician at that time, if you couldn't play, is to write. So him and I, without even thinking about anything, because at the time we started writing the song, we hadn't even been signed yet. We hadn't even had our first meeting with the label. Yeah. We didn't know anyone was interested in us at this point. Okay. So him and I were just getting together just for fun, just to do it, because we've always wanted to, and I enjoy the collaborative process. So does he, and he had just launched his solo project called SNJU, SNJU, and it's doing really well. And I mean, he's got handlers and everything like that too, but at the same time, his being his solo thing, he can kind of do what he wants. Because I know what that's like to be in a band that's have to make group decisions, and you can't always just do whatever you want. And now with him in solo, he was like, yeah, let's collaborate. It's not Steadies in Delhi to Dublin, it's Steadies and him, who's from Delhi to Dublin. And it seemed great. And the song, we sent each other a couple songs. He sent me one of his, and I sent him this. A demo of Light Me Up, just me playing it on guitar with a little beat that I made, just a loop, and which sounds very much like the beat that's in there now. And I didn't have any verses written, I just had the chorus. And he heard the song. Once I sent the song, I remember he messaged me saying, "Don't worry about the song I sent you, we're going to do your song instead." I was like, okay. That sounds good to me.
Feel ya, heal ya. Will you give me that sweet sense familiar? You're taking my heart, taking my soul, taking me to your door. I've been waiting so long, searching for someone. Don't you know that I
I was cool either way, whichever way he wanted to go with it. And it was challenging but also fun to write a song this way, which was over Skype and over FaceTiming and emails and phone calls, because he lives on Vancouver Island in Gabriola, and I'm here in Saskatoon. So we did that back and forth, and then when we were on tour, like the tour I talked about in 2020, we came out to BC. Still didn't get to see him because he was still very cautious about, he's got a young family, and they were pretty isolated. So I was like, okay, well, we'll just keep doing this Skype. But we made a lot of progress by the end of summer, and by fall, I had a demo that our drummer Curtis, who's a wizard in the studio, he had put together a really good sounding demo. And then at that point, our label and management had asked us if we have any new material to submit for a recording grant. And at the time I was like, not really. Like, I've got like nothing finished, right? And then I was thinking, well, I've got the song I did with Sanjay, but I didn't really picture that being. I didn't know it was going to be a steady song. To be honest, I thought it was just going to be something Sanjay and I did as our own solo names, and sent that to them. I'm like, well, what do you think of this? It's got another artist on it, featured, and they loved it. They were so excited, and I was shocked. I'm like, are you guys really like this excited? And they're adamant this has to be the first single from the next record. And I'm like, oh, okay, slow down for a second. I still got to talk to my band and see if they even want this to be a steady song, right? Because I didn't know. And sure enough, yeah, it just felt right to make it, a steady track. I got the whole band playing on it, and we started jamming it together, and it started feeling really good. And then we recorded again as the full band, and Sanjay sang his parts again, and it just kept getting better and better as the year went on, and we recorded it. So that's sort of how it all came together. And being on a label, you have deadlines. So they gave us till July 1st to have it in their hands.
Okay.
It takes 2 months for them to get it through Sony Orchard to distribute it. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen between them, so they like it way in advance. And of course, we're like, great, let's do it. And it all worked out. The song's finished and mastered and in their hands exactly when they said they wanted it. And and then it came out in September on digital platforms first. The music video came a bit later, and it was launched by premiered through Canadian Musician Magazine again. Gotcha. So thanks to those guys again for supporting us. That's twice now, and here we are. Like it's on the radio. It's starting to pick up steam. Live, it's become feeling as comfortable as one of our older songs, which is great, because when we first started playing it, it's still like, okay, someone's gonna make a mistake, like we don't quite have it where you don't have to think when you're on stage.
Yeah, it just becomes second nature. Yeah,
it just becomes second nature. But having said that, early on it felt pretty comfortable to play. That's usually the sign of a good song, if it's not something that isn't so hard that you can never make mistakes all the time. And so it felt natural right away, and it's gotten only better since. And even at live shows, we just did a tour of BC, and people were just super pumped about that song specifically. I mean, they loved all our music, but I had a lot of people coming up to me being like, wow, the single, the one that you said that was your new song, like I already downloaded it. They're at the bar, they're at the club, and they said it's ready. It's on my phone. Sharing it. And so yeah, it's been really cool to see the evolution.
Awesome. No, that's a brilliant story. I just love how the narrative unfolds. But at the core of "Light Me Up" as a song, just lyrically, what would you say you guys tried to capture when you were writing it?
Well, yeah, that's. I really like these questions. You're a really good interviewer, by the way. Uh, I think at the core, it was definitely going to be something uplifting and positive. So once I started writing the chords and the music, I was like, yeah, this is the right. It has the right vibe that I wanted. There's another song of ours called "Love Revolution." That's like a four-chord progression that is a really uplifting vibe. And I was trying to write something not like it, but something that had a similar vibe, right?
Okay.
And that brings out the light and the love and lyrically, we came from a couple different places. Sanjay being in a happy, loving marriage with his with his sweetheart and being in love, and so that's where he was coming from. With
Hmm.
she lights him up, right? And
Yeah.
that's she brings out the light out of him, and that's I mean that's beautiful, right? I I only wish I was experiencing the same, but being a single guy, I'm just like, well, it's for me, it's different. It's not so much about relationships as it is about just the people around you, the people that are close to you, to
Hmm.
surround yourself with those who raise you up and bring out the light, and instead of push you down, and it's a more of a negative relationship where it doesn't help you grow. It's if anything, it stunts your growth. And we all know everyone experiences having those type of people in your lives, and
Yeah.
it's tough because sometimes they're good friends or the people they're people that have been in your life for a long time, and you just you just feel like you're stuck with them, you know, but you're not. Just know that you never are. It's you got to surround yourself. I mean, I'm halfway, probably close to half. I don't know, I'm for sure halfway through my whole lifetime at this point, and all I know is that for the rest of my life, I want to live as happily as possible with really good people around me in my circle who just care about you and that you care about them, and you'll do anything for each other. And the last thing you will do is disrespect each other and you know be a negative presence in each other's lives. So that's where I was coming from, and that for people to see that once you start surrounding yourself with people who bring out the true light within you that everyone has inside of them, your life starts changing, you know,
Mm.
for the better. And you have to take that chance. Sometimes it could be an old friend from high school who you just got to cut out of your life, and it's hard to do. It's like breaking up with somebody, kind of, right?
Mm.
But
Mm.
at the end of the day, you got to worry about yourself and your future, and like I said, life's too short. You gotta live best you can.
Gotcha, gotcha. No, these answers are very well thought through. I think I'm just going to read something you said here in the piece of paper I have. You said our message has always been to spread love and bring people together, and there is no better time for that than right now. And you believe that this single really brings that message home. And just to add to that, just as a personal fan of all of the genres, which I think comes to bear on this record, be it reggae, I'm a huge fan of reggae. I think there's also a ragga undertone, which I think bumps the song along. That doom 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 doom. It just bumps the song along, and it's when I'm listening to the song, I'm seeing how skillfully all of these different genres has been melted into this one record, and I love how it's been executed. So I said I was gonna pass that along to you when we spoke. It has it has all of the makings and all of the ingredients of a great song. I'm happy it's getting the recognition that it deserves. I'm happy distribution has come with this deal, and you guys are doing the most. And I'm really glad for you guys. I think your history and being Juno nominated and have won all of these awards, I think it speaks volumes, and it's coming to bear with what you guys have done with this record, and I couldn't be more pleased for yourself and for the Steadies as well.
Oh man, that means so much. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's very humbling to hear, and and I really appreciate that. I feel it too. I feel like we still got lots of music to make, and which we're doing right now, but it feels like the beginning of something pretty great. And I've had these feelings before,
Yeah.
when I was much younger man. Although I still feel pretty young at heart, but when you're a 22-year-old, 21-year-old kid, and all of a sudden you're one of the biggest bands in the country, it's like it's a lot to take in, and you don't really know, you're not experienced enough to know how to handle some of the things sometimes. So it was overwhelming. It happens fast, and the ride to the top, it can be just as fast as the drop from the top, and I know that I've experienced both, unfortunately, right? And thankfully at the same time. So to know that I'm just enjoying it, enjoy the ride, enjoy these little moments where I see some progression, just from one show in the same city to the next time we're in that city, and I feel like we just put on a better show than the last time. And little battles like that add up. Everyone starts building that confidence, and it's like a championship team. I love sports, and I love team sports. Basketball, soccer, or football, you'd say, and baseball. I love sports, and I love why I think I love it so much is that it's that team aspect. And I was always sort of like a captain of my teams
Gotcha.
growing up,
Yeah.
and I liked that role because I liked being the person who could help sort of lead us to glory in a way, just by
Yeah.
working together. Everyone has a role to play, and if you do your roles great and you build that chemistry together, you're unstoppable. Nothing can stop you,
Gotcha.
and it's amazing to be having played music for so long, only to now, 2021, after being in the industry for over 20 years, and this is no disrespect to anyone I've played music with in the past. It's just that sometimes when you get the right mix of people and personalities in a band together, it's just a whole different feeling. It's like you're looking forward to everything, playing shows, working in the studio. Right now we're working on finishing the new EP that Light Me Up is going to be the single for.
Yeah.
And there's more songs to come, and it's all happening right now. I mean, I was just in the studio before this call sending files over to my drummer at his studio to make sure he has everything he needs so he can get mixing and do these final mixes before he goes. He's going to South America in 2 weeks, and he'll be gone for a month. So our EP needs to be done before he leaves, right? For it to reach its deadline date. But anyway, to go back to what I was saying is having these people, these guys in a band who I just love. It's like family. Everyone respects each other, trusts each other, loves to play. When I don't know if this is if you understand this, but I think you would, out of maybe other people I've maybe chatted with, is, for example, we play a show, let's say, and there's an after party.
Okay.
First of all, I've been in bands where no one wants to go to the after party.
After party.
Right?
Okay.
Maybe it's just me, because I always kind of want to go, right? If I'm not too tired, it's just like your adrenaline's still going, and you just played a great show, let's say, and you just met some cool people and some new friends, and people want to go out to the next place. And I have a band where everyone wants to go, right? And not only do we go, when we get there, everyone's on the dance floor, right? Everyone's dancing. Like, I've never been in a band where that happens, And one time we were in Edmonton, and I was looking around and seeing all of us dancing, with everyone had their, dance partner, whoever they met that night, and
Yeah.
old friends with us, and just looking around and being like, this is the band I've always wanted to have. One where it's all about the hang. You know, you could
Mhm.
interview all the most famous, biggest bands in the world, and they would all say the same thing. It's like we've been around this long, not just because we're successful, but because we like being around each other, like
Gotcha.
hanging out. We like hanging out
Gotcha.
together. It's like family,
Gotcha.
um, and it's exciting because from what I want to do with this band and where I want to take it is like around the world, as many
Mm.
countries as we can possibly go. Because I love traveling, I love seeing new places. Whole part of the reason why I am a musician is so I get to travel, and vice versa, right?
Gotcha.
And seeing new countries and traveling like that far away, which we've already done. We've gone to Asia once now and Europe, and you know, had COVID not happened, I'm sure we would have done more places. Australia, New Zealand's on the top of my list. You know, and
Mhm.
there's so many. There's just too
Yeah.
many to even think about. It's so exciting, and I never got to really do that in all of my years of being a professional musician. International touring was not something I had many opportunities to do.
Yeah.
Um, it's part of the reason why I wanted to start my own project, so I could have more say over, okay, guys, we're going to New Zealand now. Pack your
Mhm.
bag, let's go,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And not have anyone be like, I don't really want to go to New Zealand. I say that to these guys, and everyone's like, heck yeah, when are we going?
Yeah.
When, like, how do we make this happen?
Gotcha.
And that's what I mean. It's that camaraderie. It's that feeling. We're all on the same page.
Awesome. Awesome. No, just talking about places. I know that you guys have tours coming up: Calgary, Edmonton, Moose Jaw, Vancouver, Victoria, Winnipeg. There's so much to look forward to. But just touch upon that EP again that is going to be dropping next year. And what are we supposed to be expecting from the album? How many tracker is it? Does it have a name yet? And just what the near future holds for the Steadies and for you, Earl.
Well, it's you ready for this? It's kind of a wild idea, but it's uh, it's really taking shape right now, mainly because of time. We need to start really thinking about how it's going to be released and the artwork and the title and everything like that. So what we've sort of settled on so far, unless someone doesn't want to do this and wants to do something else, is the title is Triquetra. So Triquetra.
Okay.
So that it's basically it's an ancient, if it's Latin, it's ancient meanings of that apply to today of basically the core of it is everything um, important in life happens in threes. You know, whether it
Gotcha.
be past, present, future, earth, wind, fire, mother, daughter, son. You know, like it's um, there's so many things that tie uh, things together in life, and it usually happens in three stages.
Gotcha.
So we took that idea and turned it into a release of three EPs. So
Mm.
Light Me Up is going to be on the first of three EPs, and I think we're going to go with a possibility of what we might go with is mind, body, soul, because that's another three-stage part of the triquetra, and mind being one EP, body another, and soul, and maybe using the Latin terms for all of those instead to kind of follow the theme and give
Yeah.
it a little bit more mystery and
Yeah.
artistic lens to more artistic input from whoever's going to be doing the artwork. And we have a couple
Gotcha.
people lined up who want to do it. One's a person
Mhm.
who paints. So
Mhm.
it'd be really interesting. I'm curious to see if he knows the whole concept of what we're doing. I wonder what it would be like if he painted it in three stages
Mhm.
and took photos of it in each stage. And then when the album is complete and all three EPs are out, when we could release a vinyl that has the full artwork on everything. But until then, every EP is only going to be a part
A
of the
sta
artwork.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
standalone body. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the plan. 3 EPs in 2022. This one's pretty much finished. It's just getting mixed right now. Number two, we're going to start working on over the winter. There's still a lot of writing we need to get done.
Okay.
The music's done, melodies are there. Just the lyrics are always those are always the tricky things, right? Sometimes, and I love writing lyrics now. It's been something I look forward to before, and in the past, it was something I wasn't very good at, and I didn't have much confidence in doing. It's the hardest skill. It's writing a song, lyrics for a song. So now I feel really good about where I am, and I look forward to those sessions. So that's the winter for me is getting me back into writing mode and planning where we're going to go in 2022. And I'm hoping it's either back to Europe, into the States, or New Zealand, Australia. I'd be happy with any of those things.
Awesome, awesome. No. So I've incredibly enjoyed my time talking to you, and I'll. How do I articulate this now? I think what has come through from our conversation today is just a desire for the arts, for the craft itself. There are moments here where you've talked about music, and I've just well, you've talked about it in so much passion that you can kind of see for people who, again, know your story. They can go back and see that, none of this is an isolated event, and none of this is happening right now is happening overnight. And I think that's what I really am excited about when I talk to artists who are as grounded as yourself, that the process does take time, and if we stick long enough with it, it comes to a place where you've said we get to hit that place of progress and progression, and we'll start making really meeting milestones. And I think I'm really excited for you and for your bandmates and for your band members, that all of this good stuff with the record label and with the distribution and with this song is happening at this time. And we just want to wish you guys success, man. We're fans of yours right now. We're going to keep following you and supporting you the best way we can. I know you guys are going to go on to do all the media stuff and all of that, but just remember that from here in Toronto, we're rooting for you guys, and we look forward to talking to you even more as you keep on working on this album, and look forward for what the future holds.
Well, that means so much. Thank you again for having me, inviting me on. I love what you guys are doing. I've been to get ready for this, I was watching segments from some of the other artists, and I just love that you're all about the arts and supporting independent artists, because we need it. It's hard enough to do for a living, and it's a big risk to take, and the more support we get, it makes our jobs easier.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Earl. We wish you success, and we'll keep talking for sure. Absolutely.
Absolutely. We'll talk again.